Welcome back to the Video Marketing Conversation, where this is part two of an interview that I'm having with a great new friend we've met recently, Sarah Tourville with Media Frenzy. And hopefully you watched segment one where you learn a little bit about Sarah's background and experience. And Sarah, during the break, we were talking about how you've been in the industry in public relations and media relations for 15, 16, 17 years. What are the big things you've seen change in the last 15 to 18 years or 16 years?
I suppose the biggest thing I've seen change is how you can, reach the media. That actually anybody can reach the media to some extent. There's a whole game park out there where everyone can play. Everyone can actually be a journalist, an editor of their own blog. They can be their own. They can run their own podcast. That there are so many kind of media type people, so to speak. But I still believe that there are real, true influencers. That there's editors of some very serious and significant online magazines and traditional magazines which have evolved over the years and recognize that the quality of their content, the quality of the opinions of what they share and the people that they interview are still regarded as being crucial to people out there trying to make buying decisions.
So is it fair to say, I heard someone say, and obviously I don't agree with this, and I know you don't, that with the growth of digital, public relations and media relations is dead, but the reality is it's more important now than it ever has been. Would you agree with that?
No, I believe so, because I believe it's all about, earned media versus paid for media. And I think this whole philosophy has been here for many years, that if you were deciding, if you were going to invest a significant amount of money in your business, and you are out on the market looking for what is that solution going to be? That obviously we know you need to be reaching customers at least 6 or 7 times to make an impact. But if you're just doing earned media, and by earned media I mean a Google advertising strategy, a pay-per-click advertising strategy, print advertising, Twitter adverts, etc. And if you're relying on that to influence somebody, I don't believe that is strong enough or compelling enough to make someone recognize that that's the right company, that's a safe choice, that's the best choice. But earned media is all about credibility from the outset. Right. It's not you talking, you're not paying your way through. You're having to prove yourself to those influencers at the very beginning. And if they don't like what you're doing, they're not going to write about you.
Well, and you said before when we were talking that it's really about rising above the noise. So it's important that you think about how your media relations and how your social media and all the different components help you rise above the noise, because there is a lot of chatter out there. So, Sarah, I want to know, what are the 4 or 5, 3 or 4, 2 or 3, you pick it, must-haves in a strong media campaign and public relation campaign for any company today?
There's one which is so obvious to us at Media Frenzy, and it's something that we talk about all the time and we do for clients, but we call it's your cornerstone, it's your messaging. We say without your cornerstone, potentially there's a tombstone, meaning like if you don't get your messaging right, and I don't just mean like, what's your strap line going to be? I mean, if you don't truly articulate what it is that you do, what it is you bring to your customers, which is changing the way that they work or changing their behavior, if you cannot succinctly tell that story, and in terms of what you bring to the market, then in my opinion, nothing else is going to go as well as it could.
Without a cornerstone, it's a tombstone.
Without a cornerstone, it's a
messaging,
tombstone.
or you're dead.
True. Yeah, and I have seen it so many times where companies come to us, they don't want to invest in the messaging, they think they've got it, but the reality is when you think you've got your own messaging, you're looking at it from a very insular perspective. You need outside consultants who understand the industry and can ask you very prevalent questions to make sure you really are building your offering to meet the needs of your customers.
So messaging is first.
Is critical. I would then go on to say making sure, tone of voice is, and again, this is lost by so many companies. We think we can so if this is our messaging, say we want to be a trendy company in a trendy space, and we're trendy people, but we write in like corporate speak, and we're using corporate terminology, and we don't use imagery, which is, it doesn't make it, it's not emotive. So we're saying one thing, but we're showing another. Right. So your tone of voice, the way that you write is so critical to representing your brand. And you can build a personality for your company. I'm not talking individual people like a Richard Branson, which is all great. I'm not talking about that tone of voice. I mean, but you can build a personality which represents the services, the solutions, and the people in your business by the way that you communicate. And that should be representative across all your communication tools.
Well, and you said earlier that having a good, powerful website and being consistent in that element, which really translates to what you're saying, it's about every avenue, every touch point that you have with your audience. You need to think about how is your messaging and what's your tone and who are you communicating to.
And I would say another one is, social media, we know how important it is. I mean, journalists, I think, again, the statistic is very high, and the 90% in terms of journalists will go and use Twitter to identify what they want to be writing about, the coming day or the coming week. So if you don't have a social media strategy, if you are relying on press releases over the wire and sending a press release on email to a journalist, and you're not leveraging that network at your fingertips to reach those editors, then again, that's a massive missed opportunity. Right. So your social media strategy, again, needs to be representative of your brand, the image that you use, the profile that you use on your page. Again, it says who you are. And then making sure that you are sharing your content and engaging with these influencers. Reach out to those editors, reach out to those analysts, get them, give them something interesting where they're going to start following you. Get them excited, and you can build your brand by, really leveraging and engaging on social media.
Well, you said to me before when we were talking, and I keep referring back to that because I learned so much.
That's good.
But Sarah said that you almost want to reach out and engage the analysts and engage your influencers before you ever make a press release announcement. So you do that through social, you do that through direct contacts, but months before, so that they're waiting for the press release, not getting notified at the press release. So
particularly with the analyst community, if you have a good relationship, or your agency has a good relationship with the analyst, they don't want to be bulked into that. Okay, we're going to make an announcement, let's tell the analysts and the media, or the media and the analysts. They want to know about it several months before. They want to share, they want to actually kind of try it out, check it out, see what's good about it, and even give you some food for thought about it before you even go to market.
So to recap, what I think I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, is messaging is first and critical. Being consistent with your tone of voice across all your platforms, your brand, have a good, compelling website, then have a strong social media strategy before you really start your media relations. And the social media is underneath. It's another cornerstone, if you will, where you're really using it. Is there anything else? And then we need to tell them how to contact you.
Yeah, and then we just talked about, obviously, the importance of the analyst community. I mean, again, it's very much overlooked. I still feel it's overlooked and it's under-leveraged. Just to give you a quick insight of the power of working with the analysts and the media together can fully escalate the strength of your media coverage. If you have a journalist who is calling an analyst who's been briefed by you before the announcement's been made, and that analyst can share that industry perspective, just think how much better that article's going to be. It's not now going to be about just your company and what you've announced, because in reality, that's just one story. It's going to be about how you fit into the bigger picture and what that bigger picture and that opportunity looks like for the industry. That's a much more compelling story than just your solution story. So, yeah.
So I could sit here and listen to Sarah talk, as I'm sure many of you could, for hours, just because of the accent. But if you want to get to know them, why don't you real quickly tell people how they can contact you?
Yeah.
I know it's
MediaFrenzyGlobal.com is the best way. Info@MediaFrenzyGlobal.com goes to the whole Media Frenzy team. And we love hearing from people. We obviously have our social media platforms, Media Frenzy Glob. So just, quite like that, glob. Sounds a bit different, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's easy. Sarah@MediaFrenzyGlobal.com if you want to email me personally. I'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to these great insights. And be sure to look at the content below. We'll give you some links and some tips and tricks, some additional things, and obviously links to Media Frenzy's website. Sarah, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Scott.